Well, it just got announced that the NFL will be having no preseason this season, and I'm gonna let you guys know how this affects the Houston Texans. We're gonna discuss it next. Let's cue the intro.
It's the city of the dream team. Hakeem, Two-Ring, Beyonce, yeah, me. And I remember hot summer, hot winter. I couldn't fight, so the block.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calavillo. If you like this video, guys, feel free to comment. Definitely feel free to subscribe and like. Love talking to you guys. If you guys want to be in a Houston Texans group chat, feel free to drop your ad on Twitter. I'll definitely add you there. Guys, but this no preseason game really affects the Houston Texans in a way more, it affects them more than what you could think about. And here's what I mean by that. When you have new pieces on offense, Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, you have David Johnson, and those you picture those to be really huge pieces in your offense, and it's gonna take a long time to get used to them if you're not playing against the other competition in the preseason. Also, you got to factor in that Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly is going to be now calling plays now, and I'm not saying the Houston Texans offense is not going to just get work during training camp. They will, but everybody knows to see how your team is doing, you want to go against other people. That's why the preseason is there for, to not only see which rookies deserve to be on the team, but to see how your offense is going to play out. And then when you look on the defensive side, now the defense concerns me even more because when you draft Ross Blacklock at 40, and then you draft Jonathan Grenard, two pieces who you expect to be key and helpful for this Houston Texans defense next season, it's going to be a hard time for them to get really acclimated with a brand new system and Anthony Weaver. Also, Anthony Weaver first year as defensive coordinator. So you're gonna have to assume that the Houston Texans are really thinking about bringing free agents. We've talked about Everson Griffin, we've talked about Marcel Darius, who I want the most. Everson Griffin, 9 sacks, was huge last season for the Minnesota Vikings. Was a leader on this defense. Him and J.J. Watt will absolutely do damage. If you're gonna look for pieces on the offensive side, Josh Gordon, who we have talked about before, who could be serviceable if any of the Houston Texans players decides to get hurt. This no preseason game, honestly, guys, I know it's just a preseason. I know we always, cry and moan about it, but it really does affect this Houston Texans team more than any others. Why? Because the Kansas City Chiefs are returning 20 out of 22 starters. The Baltimore Ravens are some teams that look like that they're just going to be just the same. And then you got the Steelers. Your first real competition is going to be against those three teams, the Chiefs, Ravens, and Steelers. And one thing we know about the Houston Texans, guys, is that they tend to start off slow. Now, this is just going to be a slippery slope if we start off bad. If the Houston Texans start off bad, if the offense isn't where it needs to be, you know who's going to take over? Mr. Bill O'Brien himself. And it's going to go back to the offense that we know and love. And it's just going to go down as a slippery slope from there. You also got to worry about the defense as well. Their first defenses are against Super Bowl winning quarterback, MVP Lamar Jackson, and then Ben Roethlisberger, who the season before he got hurt threw for almost 4,500 yards, maybe 5,000 yards. So yes, this does affect the players. It affects the scheme. It affects the coaching staff because Tim Kelly has no error to mess up, right? Because he needs to come out and just absolutely call great games from the beginning. He's not going to have that type of stuff in the preseason where he's going to be calling all 4 games. Anthony Weaver, well, he's going to have a little bit of leeway because Bill O'Brien is not a defensive-minded coach, but this is going to be more on Tim Kelly. Can Tim Kelly keep this under pressure? Because there's going to be added pressure. Now you have no preseason. And call the right plays, call the right scheme for this Houston Texans offense. But one thing's for sure is that this is going to be exciting to watch, right? Say the Houston Texans do fall to 1-2, 0-3. We've seen the Houston Texans bounce back. And the way this schedule looks, I'd rather have the hard games first and then the easy games left to see how battle-tested this team is. But let me know what you guys think about this no preseason. I think it does really affect the Texans in a very bad way, unless things get turned around. But let me know what you guys think. As always, go Texans. You guys have a blessed day.